Okay, so this is our permanent pig pasture. Kind of use it as a holding area. We got it divided into two sections. So when we first got Brutus, which was Daddy, he was a full Duroc and probably 600-700 pounds. He was a big boy, but we had him on this side and Lady Pig, Mama, was over there. Currently got that closed off so that that side of the pasture can kind of start to recover. So we've got it, reseeded and whatnot. I'm gonna throw a scoop of fermented corn out. See if we can get everybody out so you can see. Lady Pig! But there's Lady Pig. We originally thought she was a red wattle, but turns out she is an IDH. So we're definitely keeping her. And then we've got this is her first litter, so there's 2 female and 3 males. The one kind of in the back there on the right, one of the females that we're keeping, and then the one right next to her, that's LB, little Brutus. He's still intact, so we're keeping him as a breeder as well. And then the other 3 hopefully are going to graduate sometime around February, March time frame. But for the pasture itself, we've got the barn over there, closed in on 3 sides on this one, or kind of 2 sides. You got the other, that center wall, you can't really see it, is open, but it gets cover from the other side over that way. But I need to close in that last wall over there, and then I've got some bowls out there for their dry feed, and then we just throw the fermented corn on the ground. Then they've got a 55-gallon drum there for their water. Nice little mud pit right here that stays wet long after it gets done raining. For the actual fence, we've got 2-inch by 4-inch woven wire here, which used to have electric on it as well, which they're all trained on electric. But they rooted up and piled dirt and mud on top of the hot wire and then started snapping the insulators off. So if somebody ever tells you that pigs are stupid, don't listen to them. But I went on and put in some step-in posts temporarily, mostly to keep them off of the gate. I'll show you the other gate that's over there in a second, where they actually figured out that they could root up underneath the gate and actually squeeze under the gate when they were a little bit smaller. But right now I've just got the electric kind of coming across here, across the gate, and then along in front of their feed, because the original fence, Lady Pig, actually, it was welded wire, and right there she poked her nose through one of the holes, broke the welds, and then by the end of the day there was a pig-sized hole in the fence, and she had overturned one of those barrels and was just eating straight out of it. So that's what prompted us to go on and restring this whole fence. But these posts are sunk a good 4 to 5 feet into the ground, because the soil is so good that when they rooted up underneath this section here for that gate, these 2 posts were about to fall over. So I went on and just on this side of the cinder block, I dug down, put a piece of T-post going from one post to the other, encased that in concrete, and then I ran another piece of T-post back that way and another one across that way, and put a bunch of concrete in over there, and then put the cinder blocks in. So my plan is to redo, or to put cinder block across that gate so that I don't have to have the electric there, because we did have electric across that gate, and it took me a good 2 to 3 days to prompt these guys to go out through that gate when we were going to run them through across that section, which I'll show here in just a second. So that's one issue that I've got to figure out for being able to rotate them, is how to get them to cross where the electric is, or was, depending. But we were going to rotate them through the yard here, and allegedly, you know, IDHs aren't supposed to root up that much. Okay, let them root through your yard, because this is what they did. We had electric strung up from here all the way across the property line over there, all the way down to the road, and then coming up from the road up along the driveway over there back to that corner of the fence right there. And so they had access to all of this, and it took them about 7 days to completely clear everything. The green that you see that's coming up right here right now is all stuff that we reseeded with. So there's some clover, daikon radish, barley, oat. I think we threw some wheat in here, but they had access to all this. It's a fair size area. I don't know exactly how big it is, but you might be able to see the fence right there by the road. So they had all the way down to that and all the way across here, and they went through, and I mean, there wasn't anything green left when they got done with this. There was one little section on this hill right up against the barn where they, I don't know, for some reason they really didn't tear this up very much, but the rest of it, I mean, all the way across here, this hill is probably a good 3 feet high, going from this flat spot up to that. And I mean, they went all the way up to the fence line. And I mean, the same thing down there. That little drop off, probably a good 5 to 6 feet in places. They pretty much cleared that whole thing and went all the way down to the electric that we had down there. So anyway, we're getting ready to break the 3 males off and move them over to the pond next door. So I'll go over and show you the temporary setup that I've got for them over there right now. Okay, so this is the area that is supposed to be a pond. Not really a pond right now, because it ain't holding water. So the idea is to move the 3 male pigs over here. You've got a spring that comes out of the rock face where that little house is, overflows into a PVC pipe which goes to that little concrete cistern under that tin, which overflows to right there. I threw that Rubbermaid tote container, whatever you want to call that, there just so that there's a container with water in it. And then it's going down across, down over that way, and soaking through over there. So hopefully the pigs are going to seal this up. But if we get a decent amount of rain, we don't have to get a lot of rain, just a decent amount, this will fill up. And then somewhere right up in here, somewhere over here, there's a low spot where it'll overflow and go down across that way. And then on the back side of this man-made wall right over here, there's a low spot over here, about right there, where it'll overflow, which is why I put their shelter up here, because I know that's going to stay dry. And Billy will recognize that because, well, I stole the idea from him. Well, I guess technically I didn't steal it. He put it on YouTube. So, anyway, the general idea is to put the pigs over here, or the 3 males at least, over here until such time that that gets sealed up. And we actually own this piece of land. It's about 2 acres. And then once that pond's sealed up, we're going to move them around the property line, heading up that direction, and go around the back side of the property and end up over there on the other side of the house. And then we're working on getting a land lease for that over there. And that goes straight up that ridge line. Somewhere between 400 and 600 feet in elevation over a very short distance, so it is steep. So the things I'm trying to work out right now is, I figure to get the pigs in here, I'm just gonna drop a section of this electric and throw a piece of scrap vinyl flooring on top of the wire to get them in. And then the question is going to be, they're going to figure out that electric's there very quickly, and then they ain't going to want to go that way. Now, I've heard people say stuff like, you know, put a temporary gate in, and well, that's cool, but those pigs are going to test it, and I don't know how I'm going to put a temporary gate in that they ain't just going to push over. Or have electric going across it, and then they ain't gonna want to go through it no how. And the other issue is, once we start moving in this direction, that's all rock. I'll see if I can get a little bit closer to some of this, but this is just rock shelf going up this way. Actually, there's a decent spot with it right there. I don't know how well you'll be able to see that with all the moss, but that is all rock. All the way across that. That little brick building is sitting on sheer rock. You can see more of it there, and it just keeps stepping up. So down here, there's enough soil that I can put step-in post in, but once you start going that direction, not so much. So that's going to be another interesting part. Thinking about possibly putting a step-in post and a cinder block, a little bit of concrete, so you just set it on the ground, but I ain't figured out exactly what I want to do with that. So anyway, this is what we're looking at for the time being. So hopefully in the next 2-3 days, we're actually going to get those male pigs over here and let them go to work. Alright, till next time, bye.